Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on Nasdaq. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large cap growth and also one of the best performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining us this Friday afternoon, Ben Jones, Senior Specialist with Index Research and Development at Nasdaq Investment Intelligence, to discuss Nasdaq-100 performance. And Ben, it's been such an interesting past couple of weeks with companies within the Nasdaq-100. Not only did we hit over 16,000 this week, but Facebook, with its complete rebrand and name change, I mean, you don't really think of companies that big doing a rebrand. So fill us in what's happening with Facebook and what this metaverse means.
Yeah, it's a major move. It's a major shift that we're seeing take place across the marketplace, and could kind of portend to something that we've seen, right? It's transforming the way that we interact with technology, and it's like this line that we think about, the timeline of technology, like an arrow through time. As we went from the internet to social media to social gaming, and now the metaverse. And so last week, Facebook has rebranded to a new name, Meta Platforms Incorporated, and the business will be known as Meta. This is a big push, right? So Facebook is really making a move to bring this metaverse to life, so to speak, in the press release, enabling people to connect and build communities in a more digital, virtual fashion. It's a huge milestone. They certainly aren't the first that have been providing kind of services and products in this space, but it shows that they're going to be investing in this further. So I guess the question, Joe, is what is the metaverse too? And so, looking at the metaverse today, it's according to Metaverse Primer, it's an expansive network of persistent real-time rendered 3D worlds and simulations that support continuity of identity, objects, history, payments, you name it. Facebook views it as a virtual space where you can create new worlds and explore them with other people that you aren't physically with you, right? So again, a virtual digital world.
Right. And Ben, it's really interesting when we take a look under the hood of the Nasdaq-100, we can see that there are some companies that are starting to get exposure to the metaverse and using disruptive technologies.
That's right. I think it's so important, right? Because the metaverse needs high technology, it needs innovation. You just think about what's required to create these worlds, whether we're talking about semiconductors, whether we're talking about social media platforms, whether we're talking about streaming services or video game systems. Meta worlds have been created in a lot of different areas. I think, I remember as a kid, these online gaming platforms that you could be able to immerse yourself in a world with someone halfway across the world. And so we think about that and how the metaverse is expressed within the Nasdaq-100 is in a lot of different ways. And so what you see here is kind of a breakdown of the Nasdaq-100 by thematic exposure. And you can just see from a constituent standpoint, there's a lot of companies that are providing these disruptive and thematic technologies that are connected to the metaverse. So, 5 companies, are kind of considered video gaming / esports. You see streaming. You see the internet economy, about 16 names. You think what's important about the metaverse, right? AI and big data will be key. You see about 24 companies are in there. If we look at a weighting standpoint, I think the internet economy, about 26.2%. And I think AI big data, about 57% is in this index. So if you are looking to see how is the Nasdaq-100 connected to this metaverse theme or this metaverse trend, you can see in a lot of different ways by just looking at the Nasdaq-100's thematic exposure today.
All right, Ben, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.